Hear you. I want you to say it so that everybody advocate. She's a longtime champion for all things reproductive health, rights, and justice. Please welcome Representative Barbara Lee of California.
Busy day, huh?
The radical Supreme Court justices and right-wing extremists are making it clear that they won't stop until a nationwide ban is enacted. But we are here to say loudly and clearly, keep these bans off our bodies. Our right to make our own decisions about our bodies out loud.
And I'm just going to echo what our sister, Congresswoman Barbara Lee, just said. And I want you to repeat it after me. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we rally, we win. When we march, we win. When we show up and vote, we win. Thank you so much. We are proud to be speaking to you today on behalf of the 2 million service and care workers who have been on the front lines of a global pandemic, a racial reckoning, a climate crisis, and now a crisis about our bodies. Are we united here to keep these bans off our bodies? And it's so inspiring and gives me so much hope that you showed up today to stand up and fight back. And April and I want you to know that SEIU members, worker leaders, the Fight for 15 and a union, and working people everywhere are joining you and rising up to fight back. We all have a stake in this fight, especially the women who have served on the front lines of this pandemic, providing essential services and care that our families and communities rely on. Working class women, Black, Latina, Asian Pacific Islander, Indigenous, and white are already struggling to make ends meet. April and I know that many of these women are structured into jobs that are poverty wage jobs because of corporate power and systemic racism. And these same working class women of every race cannot afford a plane, a train, or a bus ticket to another state just to get the health care they deserve. And without the ability to determine their own reproductive destinies and family size, they cannot hope to build a better future. Working people everywhere understand that our fundamental rights are intertwined. Women's rights, workers' rights, voting rights, LGBTQ rights, immigrant rights, climate justice. When you pull one thread of this fabric of our democracy unravels. We have already seen this extremist wing of the Supreme Court attack workers' rights to join together in unions. Rolling back 40 years of precedent, they sold out our rights as workers to extremists and now are selling out our rights to control our own body. Isn't that right, April?
That's right, Mary Kay. And I must say, as a Black woman, Barbara Lee speaks for me. As a citizen at home in California, and I am proud to stand on the shoulders of Barbara Lee and Shirley Chisholm and Maya Angelou. We are not just going to stand. We are going to to reproductive care in this country. And so many working women still face employment discrimination. We know it, just because they are pregnant and they lack paid sick leave and family medical leave. We are organizing, we are mobilizing right now to hold elected officials accountable who will stand up for working women at every level of government. And just like we did for the incredible, phenomenal Ketanji Brown Jackson, we are going to stand up and back judicial nominees who will defend abortion rights in this country. And we aren't going to do it alone. We have an amazing, beautiful, diverse coalition. Look around you. It's shown up here today. We're going to work with our partners across reproductive rights, across labor, to ensure that the voices of Black, Latina, API, Indigenous, and immigrant women who will be most impacted in a post-Roe world, they must be heard, they must be seen. It's time to take action. Don't just show up and raise your sign today. Leave here with your mind determined to do action. I need you to call or text 10 friends. You got 10 friends and you don't know whether or not they're going to go out for it. I got more than 10, right? I got cousins and play cousins and all of them, right? You know who they are. Text them. They cannot sit on the fence. It's too damn important. And don't just text them tomorrow. You keep texting them every single day until they cast their vote. Because it is too much at stake. Our fundamental rights are at stake. We need to expand reproductive rights in every state in this country. We need to defend workers' rights and voting rights and LGBTQ rights and immigrant rights. To build our power and use our power to transform our country into one where we can all be proud and live in freedom. We will not go backward. We will not go backwards because, as we know, when we fight, we win. Thank you.
When we fight together, let's go do it.
Yes, come on, give it up for our labor leaders, y'all. Yes. Now we're going to shift to hearing from our faith leaders because we know that the anti-choice movement wants to claim a monopoly on faith. But it's not true. It's not true. I'm a person of faith, and let me tell you, I'm not out here inspired by faith. I'm out here because of faith. So if you today you're hearing about Sheila Katz, the CEO of the National Council of Jewish Women. We got Haley Manson, president of Catholics for Choice. We have a video justice for Rafa Kifai, the Repro Legal Defense Fund director at If When How. And we also got Adul Ray, the national liaison for Women's Health for the Southern Christian Leadership Conference.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. I'm so proud to be here with all of you representing 200,000 National Council of Jewish Women Advocates across the country. Spoiler alert, Jews have abortions. Christians have abortions. Muslims have abortions. People of faith and people of no faith have abortions. Right now, people across our country who are already marginalized face the inhumane reality that they could be forced into pregnancy, a life-changing and potentially life right to dominate the narrative around abortion and religion, claiming that abortion access is a violation of religious freedom. So we ask them, whose religious freedom are you trying to protect? Not mine. Judaism not only permits abortion, but requires it when the life of the pregnant person is at risk. Religious freedom is meant to be a shield to protect people of minority faith communities, not as a source to discriminate against us. And the only way we can truly have religious freedom in this country is if every person can make their own decisions for their body, their lives, and their future. I would never force my religious traditions, beliefs, or values onto another person. But that is exactly what is happening in our Supreme Court and states across our country. Let me be clear. I support the right to an abortion because of my Jewish faith, not in spite of it. Uphold our constitutional rights, not tear them down. And we are here together to raise our voices and say, not in our name. We are the majority, and we will bend the arc of the moral universe towards justice. Amen.
Hi everyone, my name is Jamie Manson and I am a proud, queer, lesbian, Catholic woman. Supports abortion access. As president of Catholics for Choice, I represent the 68% of Catholics who do not want to see Roe overturned. I support abortion access because of my Catholic faith, not in spite of it. Abortion bans create profound suffering among those who are already oppressed by sinful structures of racism, gender inequality, economic insecurity, and immigration restrictions. Catholics are taught a theology of social justice, and abortion bans are the opposite of justice. What we are seeing right now at the Supreme Court is the result of religious overreach led by Catholic bishops, allegedly celibate men who will never ever be pregnant, and yet have spent over 50 years and tens of millions of dollars trying to control women's bodies and queer bodies, capture the federal judiciary, and take choice out of our rightful hands. The only way to preserve our rights against right-wing religious forces, the only way to get true separation of church and state, is to enshrine our rights in the Constitution through the Equal Rights Amendment. Which is ratified and just needs to be certified. The Catholic bishops know the ERA's power to solidify abortion rights, and they are organizing against it right now. So I call on President Biden, our pro-choice Catholic president, our pro-ERA Catholic president, to certify and publish the Equal Rights Amendment today. In the gospel, Jesus tells us the truth shall set us free. Here is the truth. 1 in 4 abortion patients in this country is Catholic. Abortion is part of the life of the church. If you are a person of faith, I call on you to get loud and proud about your support for abortion access. Do not cede your faith to the right wing and their unholy crusade against dignity and freedom. We have the moral high ground here, and we will not stop fighting. Thank you.
Pakistani immigrant. I'm also the director of the Reform Legal Defense Fund, an organization that covers bail and funds strong defenses for people who are punished by the state for self-punishing their abortions or helping someone else do so. We started the Reform Legal Defense Fund because we knew the criminalization of pregnant people was only going to get worse. We are fighting back against the state that is forcing people to remain pregnant against their will. This is a terrifying time with attacks on people seeking abortion alongside attacks on trans people, a time where a singular and cruel version of faith is being used to gain entrenched oppressive power dynamics. This unique draft shows us what we already knew. The laws are never meant to keep us safe, and the state will not protect us when this country is built on controlling the bodies of Black people, Indigenous people, migrants, people with disabilities, poor people, women, trans, and queer people. As all our struggles are connected, we work to ensure all people have the environments and resources to create the families they want. This means raising the children we have free from state violence. It means standing up against war, borders, and the occupation of Palestine. It means defunding the police, abolishing prisons, and decriminalizing sex work, because these are all real issues. Our listeners getting the healthcare provider or manage our own abortions, we should be able to do so without fear of being criminalized, deported, and having our children taken away. That said, we know nothing is more powerful than solidarity. It is through our collective action as people who believe in our rights to make decisions upon our own bodies that we resist and rebuild the world we want and need to live in. Please tell people about the Reform Legal Defense Fund so our communities feel supported and prepared. The time to build solidarity with them. Our safety, our lives, our communities can all wait.
justice movement, people who have been fighting at the forefront for so long to ensure that we not only fight for access to abortion, but for all the barriers that are in front of a person even in order to get there. So y'all, reproductive justice is racial justice. Reproductive justice is economic justice. Reproductive justice is justice. All right, y'all, I want to introduce you to these fantastic leaders. First, we got Nuri Martinez, the Senior Director of Government Relations of the
you, to every single person here. Thank you, because the fight we're up against is going to need all of us. That's right, that mother, that person, that daughter, that tia, that neighbor, ourselves, anyone seeking care to abortion, we are going to need to help each other. And you will not be alone. I know this because look at all the beautiful people here today. Thank you so much. And we are here to deliver a clear message. Abortion is a fundamental human right. Punto. If the Supreme Court draft opinion is final, it will hit hardest people who already face barriers to care. I'm talking about Latinas, Latinx, Black people, Indigenous people, young people, immigrants, people with disabilities, people in rural and underserved communities, the LGBTQ community, and people with low incomes. That's a lot of us. And states throughout this country are already facing abortion bans and restrictions. And with each restriction and ban and obstacle, we, all of us, will be there to fight them. Our poderosas and bandas and all around the country are organizing to get the care they need. We and our communities have created networks for practical support and assistance. We help folks who are undocumented navigate ICE checkpoints inside Texas that curb the ability to move around. Here is what my colleague from Texas, Lucy Felix, wanted y'all to hear today. Seguiremos luchando por un mundo en que todas las personas obtengan el acceso a la salud reproductiva integral con dignidad y justicia para todas sus comunidades. We will continue to fight for a world in which all people gain access to comprehensive reproductive health and dignity justice for all their communities. Independiente de la decisión de la Corte Suprema, las poderosas y sus familias de seguirán luchando hasta no ver que sus derechos humanos sean restablecidos. Regardless of the decision of the Supreme Court, the poderosas and their families in Texas will continue to fight until they see their human rights restored. En Texas se respira lucha. In Texas, we breathe the struggle. Gracias, Lucy. Together, we must fight for a world in which everyone should be able to receive their abortion care in the way that is best for them. Latina Institute will be proudly there, fighting every step of the way. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Monsu with the National Asian Pacific American Women's Forum. Now, First Story is the only organization in the country dedicated to building power with Asian American women and girls, and abortion is a critical part in our reproductive laws. For our community, 35% of pregnancies end in abortion. But the path to get there is especially difficult and filled with deep cultural stigmas. But despite attempts to shame us, and we will not be shamed, AAPI 85% of us support abortion access, and we demand our voices be heard today. We are tired of attempts to take away our right to abortion care. We are tired of attempts to criminalize us. We are tired of attempts to control our bodies. And no matter what
justice. I stand on the shoulders of black Southern Democrats, like Sojourner, like Fannie Lou Hamer, reproductive justice movement, because they knew that when it came to they come for our body autonomy, our human right to have children or to not have children, to bear them in healthy and safe communities, that they come for our full liberation of people. We don't have the luxury of fighting for a single issue lens. We don't have the luxury of that, y'all. We've been fighting for our bodies since the beginning of time, and we ain't gonna stop until our people are free, right? Too many of our protections and communities are under attack, from voting rights to our transgender youth, and we have to fight harder than we have ever fought before for people. Our lives depend on it, and our generations that are coming are depending on us.
Can we get a picture with you?
Yes, we will. Reproductive oppression has plagued our community for generations, and we know which communities are most at risk when we restrict or deny access. Black women die 4 times more likely than white women in childbirth. Our babies are gunned down in the streets. Our communities get plagued with pollution and underfunded schools and wage inequalities. These systems of oppression exist to protect white supremacy, y'all. And anti-abortion legislation isn't pro-life. It is pro-white supremacy. I'm going to say it again. This fight that we are against right now is a fight against white supremacy. We know the folks behind this agenda. These folks are committed to protecting white supremacy culture, and they just want to stay in power, y'all. But they are just coming at us like this because I believe that they're scared. They get mad, y'all. They shook. They are, because we are calling out and coming for this white supremacist patriarchal system every single day. We are working across movements, and we are building our pathway to liberation, y'all. I get so much joy when I think about the power of the people. I get so much joy when I think about how reproductive justice, this framework, has given us the blueprint to win. And I get so much joy when I think about the actions that we are organizing to keep this momentum going. Are y'all ready to keep going? I got 2 things that you can do today. One, you can sign up to join our action on
truly unthinkable crisis. And honestly, after I first heard about this Supreme Court draft opinion, I couldn't stop crying, because of what is likely to be our new reality, that all of our daughters will have fewer rights than we did. We spend our lives trying to make the world a better place, a more equitable and freer place for our children. And without reproductive freedom, women will have no freedom at all. Because we all know that enforced birth means female enslavement, especially for poor women. I also felt scared, because the courts are the places where our rights are supposed to be protected. And yet this Supreme Court is taking away our most fundamental rights. A partisan, MAGA-infested Supreme Court that has 2 justices who are sexual predators and 3 justices who were appointed by a twice impeached sexual predator. And I felt brokenhearted, because I always believed in my heart, like I'm sure most of you, all of you do, that as Martin Luther King said, that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. And I still believe that, which is why, after all the despair and fear, like many of you, I picked myself up and I started to get angry. And then fucking enraged. And then I remember that our collective rage that we all feel right now, right here, is our superpower. The truth is, as scary as this is to us, we also scare the living shit out of them. And they should be scared, because all of us who believe in a woman's right to choose, we are a dangerous threat to their patriarchal power. This is not about the sanctity of life. No, this is about controlling and punishing women, because they are afraid of and they hate our freedom, our equality, our very autonomy. And yeah, Alito, you're right. The word abortion is not in the Constitution, but neither is the word woman. These justices, like our forefathers, clearly have one priority: to uphold the white male patriarchy. Well, SCOTUS and all of you other anti-Republicans, buckle the fuck up. Because we are not about to let a handful of misogynists control our bodies and our lives. We will never go back. And we will fight with everything we've got, because here's the deal: we are the vast majority. And we will vote on a local, state, and federal level. We must vote every one of these anti-choice politicians the fuck out. We know banning abortions won't stop them. It will just stop safe abortions. So we must also do everything we can to help the millions of women living in more than half the states that are poised to ban abortion outright. So donate whatever you can to Planned Parenthood and the organizations they are partnering with. The National Network of Abortion Funds, Ultraviolet, and Liberate Abortion Coalition supports Emily's List to help get more pro-choice candidates elected. And again, vote. Vote as if our lives depend on it and our daughters' lives depend on it, because they do. And get the vote, help get the vote out in record numbers. We have to make the upcoming midterms not just a blue wave, but a blue tsunami. Let's show these extremist Republicans just how truly dangerous we can be. Our bodies, our lives, our rights belong to us, and we are going to make sure that the moral arc of the universe keeps bending towards justice. So in that spirit, fuck SCOTUS, fuck the Republicans, fuck the motherfucking patriarchy. And in fact, I'll say that again because I messed it up. Fuck the motherfucking patriarchy! In fact, for all of those who want to take away our basic human rights from now on, just go fuck yourselves! It is now my honor and pleasure to introduce our next distinguished speaker, who is the child of immigrants and who has served the public on a local, state, and national scale for more than 20 years. Senator Padilla is the first Latino to represent California in the United States Senate, where he was appointed to complete the term of Kamala Harris. In the Senate, he has overseen a historic expansion of voting rights and voter participation, a huge issue in the upcoming midterms and in every election. Please join me in welcoming our Senator and ally, Alex Padilla.
Good morning, Los Angeles. Now, somebody told me LA is pro-choice. Is that right? LA is pro-choice. LA is pro-choice. I want to thank you all for coming out today. I mean, you all know why we're here. We're here because Republican legislators and 5 right-wing judges are hell-bent on rolling back the clock on women's rights. I'm Senator Alex Padilla, and I believe the right to choose for your own body is fundamental. That right should not rely on what state you live in. It shouldn't rely on how much money you earn, or whether you own a car, or whether you can afford to take time off of work. I promise you this, we will not stand by and watch while extremist politicians make rules for your body. We will not stand by and lose generations of progress. We won't stand by because abortion bans are deadly. And they are fundamentally wrong. You have the right to choose for your own body, no one else. But we also know what danger we're facing down. We've seen the radical draft opinion to overturn Roe v. Wade and 50 years of women's rights along with it. And we know that they won't stop there. That's why I'm fighting in the Senate to protect access to abortion, not just in California, but in every state in America. And the path may not be easy, but we're going to keep fighting because protecting Roe v. Wade is too important. We're going to fight in the streets. I'm going to fight in the Senate. And I know that we're all going to fight when we make our way to the ballot box in the primaries and again in November. Now, I'm proud to represent a state that fiercely defends abortion access, as you all are proving here today. Give it up for First Lady Jen Newsom. Give it up for Governor Gavin Newsom and our leaders in Sacramento, because they agree, and we're going to put it in the Constitution. Abortion rights are fundamental rights, and they will be constitutional rights here in California. I know it's getting warm out there. Thank you, Los Angeles. Keep raising your voice. Keep up the fight. Together, we won't go back. We're going to win. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mila Jovovich. I am so proud to be standing in front of you here today, you beautiful crowd that's here to support women and our rights to reproductive freedom. We have all heard the whispers and the words coming from these oppressive, backward-thinking, conservative circles, and now they are being shouted out loud. The Supreme Court of the United States is poised to obliterate Roe versus Wade and all women's rights to reproductive freedom. And that's not all. Our fundamental right to privacy is also at stake, and that won't just impact abortion rights. It will affect many things we take for granted. The right to marry whomever we choose, regardless of their skin color, regardless of their gender identity. The right to choose contraception is at stake. Now, once that door's open, the Trump-stacked Supreme Court will be empowered to change the course of history by undoing every hard-fought victory for human rights over the past 50 years. In nearly half of the United States, the obliteration of Roe versus Wade would trigger an immediate and total ban on legal abortions. Now, women have always found a way to get abortions, okay? To make this procedure illegal won't stop women from getting them. It'll stop women from getting safe abortions. these lawmakers created any social safety net for all these babies that will be born as a result.
What do we do? Trans rights are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. What do we do? Stand up like that. What do we do? Stand up like that. Women's rights are under attack. What do we do? Stand up like that. What do we do? Stand up like that. What do we do? Stand up like that. That's right. We stand up. We fight back for women's rights, for trans rights, for everyone's rights. Thank you so much. I'm with the Party for Socialism and Liberation. We are fighting for true freedom and democracy. Abortion is healthcare. Abortion is a human right. Abortion is healthcare. Abortion is healthcare.
It has to stop. We know that the sound of thousands of voices raised as one cannot be ignored. We must continue to act with intention, with strength, and with integrity in numbers that cannot be ignored. We must mobilize together and take action, not just today, but every day. It is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Nuri Martinez. She is the first Latina president of the Los Angeles City Council. Woo! And she is committed to championing issues directly impacting women, including a plan urging President Biden to pass programs addressing paid family leave, affordable health care, and pay equity. Please join me in giving Nuri Martinez a warm welcome.
Thank you very much. Good morning, women of Los Angeles. Buenos días a las mujeres de Los Ángeles. Are we going back? Are we going back? Are we going back? Overturning Roe versus Wade is racist. Because if anybody knows, this ban will affect poor women and women of color. Wealthy women and well-connected women will have the resource to travel to another state to have an abortion. But women of color, poor women of color across this country are going to suffer and are going to die as a consequence. Women of color have limited access to resources and cannot afford to take one day out of work to go have a procedure in another state. The GOP is working overtime to control our bodies and our votes. This is the same political party who doesn't give a shit about women, who doesn't care about universal health care, who doesn't care about universal child care, and doesn't give a shit about paid family leave. We are so lucky to live in California, but we need to organize in red states. Women of color showed up for this country in 2020. We showed up for President Biden, and we showed up for Vice President Kamala Harris. It is time that the rest of this country show up for women of color. Because make no mistake, they're coming for women, they're coming for gay marriage, and they're coming for civil rights. They're coming for all of us. So don't sit on the sidelines. Get up, organize red states, and stand up for women. Thank you.
Hello, Los Angeles. My name is Lisa Ann Walter, and you might know me as the nanny from The Parent Trap. And now on the hit show Abbott Elementary on ABC. And I want to do this real quick because they like to lie about how many people come out and support women's autonomy for their reproductive choices, and they like to concentrate on those people over there. So at the count of 3, everybody, you scream your loudest. Let them know Los Angeles is strong in support of women, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's good. I'll post it later so you can all tag yourselves. All right, how did we get here? This is my 5th, 6th, 7th, I've lost track of the marches, of the rallies. But how did this happen? Why? A brief history. Lock her up. Remember that? Yeah. Lock her up isn't new. There's a reason why it resonates with the unhinged masses. These people have been using a version of this lock her up against women for hundreds of years. These are people that can't wait to demonize women. They want to put them in jail. They want them punished for daring to be educated, sexual, free. Some of them are nostalgic for a time when they could burn us as witches. This is not hyperbole. In his decision to strike down Roe, Justice Alito referenced a
do, and you can investigate, you can do everything you want to do, but we're in a fight and we're gonna fight back. And so, this draft opinion by Alito basically undoes 50 years of constitutional protection. Ladies and gentlemen, they're coming for birth control. They're coming for marriage equality. intimidated. We're not going to throw up our hands and allow Alito and his fellow right-wing justices can control our lives. We are furious, and we're going to fight like hell. We're going to fight back. We're going to fight until our rights are restored. I want you to know that this is unprecedented, and this is cruel, and this is outrageous. Overturning Roe means 26 states could swiftly move to ban abortion. And I want you to know already there are 13 states with laws that could immediately go into effect. And I want to tell you, as a black woman, I know what control is all about. I know the history of slavery. That was control. I understand that that was control when we couldn't go to the schools to get educated. Control when they told us where we couldn't live. Control when they not allowed us to go into the hospitals for medical care. This is a medical crisis that we're involved with now. This is an economic crisis that they are putting upon us. We'd better understand it, and we'd better be ready to take off the gloves. I'm 83 years old, and my name is Auntie Maxine Kickass. And so, I want to remind you of where this kind of started with the Supreme Court. Dolby versus Jackson Women's Health Organization. They're the ones that have this pending U.S. Supreme Court case about basically the constitutionality of the 2018 Mississippi state law that bans most abortions operations after the first 15 weeks of pregnancy. Well, you know, as I remind you that this case is coming out of Mississippi, I want you to remember what Nina Simone had to say. Mississippi, goddamn. Nina Simone sung about it. She talked about it. We know what is happening, and we cannot be afraid. Young people, millennials, I want you on the front lines. Those of us who are more mature, we're not afraid to fight. I'm 83 years old, and I'm prepared to fight. Fight, 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 fight. We're not intimidated. We're not afraid. We know what the struggle is all about. Let's get with it every day, every hour. And while they are investigating, we'll be kicking their ass.
Grabbing my phone, Maxine Waters, everybody. Let her hear it.
Hi, everybody. Okay, you may not know who I am, but my name is Constance Marie. Hey, and you might know me as the mom from Selena the movie and the wife from the
I mean, even when I was down there earlier this month, it was not like this constant. I don't know. Hopefully.
Watch out, Jose. This is the roll, the photographer roll. So you get the money shots are better later.
It is a big one.
Slow down. There you go. Nice.
Dump that opinion. Dump that opinion. Dump that opinion. There is time to change. There is always time to change. There is time to stay in the present, because we will not allow our country, our state, or our city to be moved backwards. We are moving toward the future. And there are three truths that I want to share. All women have the right to control their bodies. No one has the right to say what happens to our bodies. Only a woman and her doctor have a right to make a decision about pregnancy, about abortion, and about anything else. And the third truth is none of us are going to allow our country to be moved back 50 plus years. It's not going to happen. The sad thing is, the same people, the same party that believes that they should control a woman's pregnancy doesn't give a damn about the baby when the baby's born. Not a damn. It's the same people, it's the same party that cuts food stamps, that doesn't want to fund childcare or education, and now wants to ban books and decide what you can know about our history. We need to know everything about our history. Everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is the day we continue and strengthen our national movement. This is the day that we send that message to the court.
Now, we all have to remember the lessons from 4 years that we suffered while Trump pretended to be president. We can never forget that victories that we have won can be turned back, but only with our permission. And we're not given our permission today or any other day. We won't allow that to happen. We won't allow any court or any politician or any legislature to control our health care. We will not accept the rolling back of our rights, our freedoms, because we were strong and we will vote. We will vote. There is an election happening right now. I want you to raise your hand if you are going to go home and vote, because that ballot is in your mailbox today. Vote today. We have to send a message that we are going to hold elected officials accountable for their present and for their past. And we need commitments to say you will protect a woman's right to choose. We will elect people who will not hesitate to say, we understand it is your right to decide what happens with your body. We will fight. We will fight. We will fight. We will fight. We will vote. We will vote. We will vote. I know we will win. Sisters, women, girls, and men who support us, stand strong. We will do this. Thank you.
What's up, Los Angeles? My vagina is angry. Who's ready to fight like hell? We're not going.
10%. That's what I'm saying.
Cheer for me if you stand by me for an abortion.
Good job, nice. Good job. Right here. There you go. I'm going to say good job. Yeah, yeah.
When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Women's rights are under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When indigenous rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When women's rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When abortion rights are under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back. Roe v. Wade is under attack. What do we do? Stand up, fight back.
Wait, we're going to shot. Oh, that's all right.
Stand up!
officer. Can you please take in that bullshit? What are you doing? I gotta get a wedding. What are you doing? Hey, Jack. At the rate they're going, I probably won't be able to make them at the Supreme Court. I'll give you a shot and put them to the Capitol. Okay. 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 Thank you so much, Jack. If you could just tell the powers that be that I'm coming down hard.
We will not stop passing laws and funding budgets that protect our right to choose. And until you recognize that a woman is a full human being, then you know what, America? Until you recognize that a woman is a full human being with a right to choose, then we will not stop fighting you! Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jolie Fisher. I loved him. I was a baby myself, and I was not the only one who got tangled up in the sheets with him. I was wrapped up, entangled, that breathless, undebatable, unarguable attachment on the brink, on the very precipice of womanhood. I thought I knew everything about life as I shed my teens like scales, fresh skin awaiting. I was nubile, a neophyte, and yet an old soul. I yearned for so much, for everything. I remember what I was wearing as we got further and further away from Beantown, that black and blue tie-dyed dress without restriction, irony not at all lost. Would the comfort of cotton subdue my terror? The metal doors and the sterile, sparse room. I remember the clipboard and the flutter of a stack of papers, lines and boxes, awaiting answers and check marks. Yes, yes, no, yes. How would I be paying? And how would I be getting home? Was someone there to support my decision? He was there. He was in support of my decision. We would split the cost and I would be paying forever. Then time was suspended. I was alone in my decision. My life flashed before me, flowers. I smelled flowers, wedding aisles, bouquets, floral tributes at stage doors, lights, laughter, interrupted by doors and legs swung open, placed in stirrups. My reverie and the fragrance changed to chemical. A cherubic woman asked me once again, had I made this choice freely? I read, again, forever, lost until today. I wanted life. I wanted my life. I wanted to be a mother someday. Things got hazy. I felt cold metal enter me, and I heard a noise that I will never forget. It sucked, literally. I felt utter despair and yet resolute. This was 8 weeks after contraception. This wasn't the loss of a child the way that I have seen parents mourn their gunned-down child. This was a woman child knowing what would be best for her future. I cried that kind of gutter, primordial, indescribable cry, a primordial song. I knew someday that I would bring children into the world. I have now. I have given birth on my bed, a primordial sound once again, harmonic now, ready to give birth to mother. I have 5 children. My husband, my partner of 25 years, brought 2 into the deal. I have given birth twice.
I have miscarried 3 souls. They were not ready to be or to be with me. And I have adopted my youngest child from a woman, a child herself, who was brave and naive. But she presented me with another daughter, and they're here today. From time to time, I think how dramatically different life would be. 30 years ago, that mass of cells that indeed had a heartbeat, a phantom and unwanted, then I am catapulted forward. I am a woman. I am a mother. I am a slayer of dragons. And I would not be any or all of these things with 9 children. Would there be any of my story at all that would be the same? I think now of my 3 daughters and all of you. Not the clinic outside Boston where my innocence was lost, but my power gained. I want for them the same rights, the same choices and access to reproductive health that I had, and I never want them to endure any pain that I can take away. Vote. I now have the pleasure to introduce an old friend. Iconic attorney Gloria Allred handles more women's rights cases than any other law firm in the nation, representing victims who have been discriminated against due to sex, race, age, physical handicap, or sexual orientation. Her firm also represents victims of AIDS discrimination, sexual harassment, and wrongful termination, and diligently works on behalf of victims in sexual assault, rape, child sexual abuse, and domestic violence. Gloria is not afraid to take on the powerful. She speaks truth to power and engages tirelessly in her support of underrepresented. In the words of President Obama, you remember him, Gloria Allred is one of the best attorneys in the country. What an inspiration, a role model, a force of nature. In Gloria's own words, I start every day with the knowledge that helping people and fighting for justice is my duty, and that nothing worthwhile comes without sacrifice, self-discipline, and courage. Join me in welcoming the fierce, courageous warrior for justice, Gloria Allred.
Good afternoon, sisters, brothers, everyone who came. We're going to fight this. You saw the sign behind me that said my body was a crime scene before Roe v. Wade. And it was, because as I have told you, I was in my 20s. I went to Mexico on a vacation. I was raped at gunpoint. I came back to California in the 60s, and I could not get an abortion legally when I found out that I was pregnant. So I had to do what so many millions of women across the country before Roe v. Wade had to do, and that was to have a back alley abortion performed by someone who would do it for the money and who was not a licensed healthcare provider. I almost died. I got 106-degree fever. I was left in a bathtub in a pool of my own blood, hemorrhaging. I got an ambulance who was sent. They took me to the hospital where they only took in women if they were bleeding to death, but not to do the legal abortion. A nurse said to me, who was anti-choice, I hope this teaches you a lesson. It did teach me a lesson, but not the one she wanted me to learn. What I learned, The lesson I learned was that abortion must be safe. It must be legal. It must be affordable. And it must be available. And when I spoke a few weeks ago on CNN about this, I was contacted by another woman who told me that she also had to have a back alley abortion in the 60s in Illinois when she was young, had been raped, and was pregnant, and she too almost died. I invited her to be with me today as a living witness to those days. Give a big round of applause for Patrice. Because Patrice had to have an abortion on a kitchen table. One day she'll tell all of us the rest of it. I know what happened to her. This is her first pro-choice rally. Patrice, it's not going to be your last, right? If you think that was just back in the day in the 60s, let's talk about today. Let's talk about the Mr. McCormick in Louisiana who brought a bill. He wanted to criminalize abortion because, like those anti-choice protesters out there who say abortion is murder, he said, it's murder, prosecute the women for murder, for homicide. And one person in the audience, when someone said no, he can't debate it, said shame. Well, we say, shame on you. Shame on you, Louisiana. Shame, 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 shame. And let's talk about Republican United States Senator Mitch McConnell. He wants a national ban on abortion. Are you going to allow that? No, no, no. He's over there today in Ukraine saying that he wants to protect Ukraine. I agree that we should protect Ukraine. But why is he protecting Ukraine at the same time endangering the life of women and girls? And by the way, I'm not the only one who says that women and girls will die if Roe v. Wade is repealed. The most prominent medical journal this week, Lancet, also said that women and girls will die if Roe v. Wade is repealed. Are we going to fight back? And of course, I can't leave out Justice Clarence Thomas, whom I have met more later. But he was just quoted as saying that the abortion opinion leak will change the Supreme Court forever. Well, what about the impact it has in changing women's lives and changing girls' lives? Justice Thomas, we are going to fight back against this dangerous decision if it becomes final. Do you agree? And finally, action plan, because as you know, I'm all about action. Are you all about action? I want you to, each of you to consider running for office. I want you to vote. I want you to ask your friends and family members in other states. Let them know we are a haven state. we will help them to come to California to get a legal and safe abortion. Do you agree? And finally, I want you to do this for me, for you, for people you never met. I want you to consider running for office, and I want you to vote as though your lives depend on it, because they do. Si se puede, si se puede, si se puede. Resist. Let me hear it. Resist. Insist. Persist. Elect pro-choice representatives. Thank you, and fight on. What's the other one? Okay.
Hi, I'm Frances Fisher. I'm an actress and an activist. No more wire hangers! "56 men signed the Declaration of Independence. It was a document treasonous to the King of England. Therefore, by doing so, they were literally putting their lives at risk. The Declaration called forth a new nation built around the most enlightened principles that had ever formed the founding of a country. All men were deemed created equal, endowed by God with inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They were to be governed by a government whose sole purpose was to secure those rights, and authority was granted to the people to alter or abolish that government if it wasn't doing its job. Enlightened principles, to be sure. But out of the 56 signers, 41 of them were slave owners themselves, even, of course, the Declaration's author. So from the very beginning, ensconced in our national DNA, there has always been a deep dichotomy between who we are and who we say we are. It has been this way from the beginning, that as a people, we are dedicated to the most enlightened principles, yet imbued with forces that are even more willing to transgress against them. Every generation of Americans has played out this struggle, ours no less than anyone else. It's helpful to recognize the historical nature of the contest, if for no other reason than not to feel alone right now. We're not facing anything the abolitionists, the women's suffragettes, or the civil rights movement didn't face. We are simply the latest in a long line of Americans challenged to create a more perfect union, facing forces practically mocking us for even thinking that we could. The thing is, though, that against all odds, the abolitionists did. Against all odds, the suffragettes did. Against all odds, the civil rights movement did. The lesson in all of this is clear. The fact that the odds are against you doesn't mean you won't prevail. It just means you might have to work a little harder, have more commitment, be more dedicated, and sacrifice more than you thought you had to. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Martin Luther King. And we are the ones who are going to bend it now. Today's rampant nihilism is neither productive nor rooted in a sound appraisal of our situation. Of course, we are all anxious, but weren't the ones who walked across the bridge at Selma anxious? Of course, these times are traumatizing, but weren't the suffragettes being force-fed in their prison cells traumatized? Of course, huge economic and political forces are against us. Can what we're facing now, however, compare to the horror of slavery, of institutionalized suppression of women, of segregation, of the trail of tears? Perhaps it's time for us to toughen up a bit. Let's not be the first generation in history to wimp out on doing what it takes to put this country back on track. This isn't a time to crumble, nor to coddle our neuroses, or to indulge our fears. Cynicism is just an excuse for not helping, and pseudo-sophisticated calls to drop out of the system because somehow that will destroy the duopoly, well, that makes no sense. The times are gnarly and complicated and unjust and even cruel. But when times get tough, the tough mature. And I'll leave you with this. Yes, let's identify the problems of our past, but let's identify with the problem solvers who dealt with them. They had their challenges, and so do we. That was their time, and this is ours. Going back much further than the history of the United States to the shrouded mists of biblical times, the words of Mordecai speaking to Esther ring out to all of us today. You were born for such a time. Marianne Williamson. Introducing Cara James from Black Women for Wellness and Maren Shita. In the street, may compete.
Do the dog, catch it, dog, catch it. Do the dog, catch it. Do the dog, catch it, dog, catch it. Do the dog, catch it.
All right, so I'm Cara James from Planned Parenthood, Los Angeles. All right, to start, when I say abortion, you say justice. Abortion. 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 Yes, yes. It is hard to believe that we are here fighting for a constitutional, no, a human right that changed the trajectory of my life. Today, alarm bells are sounding across the world as we face the biggest threat to our reproductive freedom. As a healthcare provider, I see patients that are devastated, frustrated, scared, confused. Patients who already have a hard time paying for food, transportation, childcare, housing. Patients who know they can't take care of a child, but are being forced to travel out of state to get an abortion or continue an unwanted pregnancy to term. The devastating effect of atrocious abortion bans and the potential loss of Roe v. Wade has dire implications for access to health care and the rights of women and other people assigned female at birth. But the biggest impact will be felt overwhelmingly by Black and Latinx people. Yeah. That's right, people with low incomes and people in marginalized communities. Even if they overturn Roe, it will not end abortion. It will exacerbate already existing healthcare disparities caused by centuries of systemic racism, poverty, and discrimination. The lack of access will force those who cannot afford abortions to continue unintended pregnancies, seek out unsafe, illegal abortion providers, or attempt risky self-abortion procedures which may cost them their life. This lack of access will have implications for generations.
Pregnancy has become a death sentence for many in the same states with poor access to food stamps, financial assistance, and poor education systems. The very places where reproductive health care is the most difficult to obtain. We must step up our fight and commitment to protect every woman's right to reproductive freedom. Every woman should have the freedom and power to control their own body, their own decisions, and their own lives. Planned Parenthood and other reproductive health care providers will always be here to ensure that abortion care is provided. And I invite all of you to continue to join us to fight for reproductive rights today, tomorrow, and in the future. We may be in California, but we must never forget, unless all of us are free, none of us are free.
Hi everybody, how are we doing? We good? Awesome, thank you so much. My name is Meronchita and I'm here with Black Women for Wellness. We are a local nonprofit that cares about reproductive justice. We understand that when it comes to our bodies, it is our choice. We understand when it comes to our bodies, we have two major rights. We have the right to have children, but we also have the right not to have children. If the Supreme Court moves to overthrow Roe v. Wade, then, which has not happened, by the way, so abortion is still very much legal. We know that several things will happen if they are able to overturn it. We know that 26 states will move to actually ban or limit reproductive justice rights, specifically abortion. We know 13 of them actually have trigger bans that will go into effect almost immediately after that ruling. We also know that criminalizing abortion does not stop abortion. It only stops our ability to find resources for safe abortions. It's estimated that there will be a 21% increase in pregnancy-related deaths in women if this ban happens. It's also not surprising that it's 33% among Black women. We know that Black women, immigrants, and low-income communities are going to be the most affected by these bans. Specifically, we know that women living in the South and those southern states are going to be impacted. And finally, we know our opponents are not going to stop at abortion. We know this is their first step in actually trying to limit many of our freedoms, including the right to vote, including our contraception use, including our right to marry who we choose to marry. So let's make it clear, we are here today because these are our bodies and we will not let them use them as their opening salvo in their quest to eradicate democracy. With that, I want to give us some clear action steps, some clear calls to action to actually fight this ban. One, and I know you guys are tired of hearing about it, vote. We need to vote in pro-choice candidates at every level of government. This includes local, state, and federal elections. We need to make sure that they put their money where their mouth is and actually fund resources for reproductive justice and reproductive health issues. You can also contact your local or national reproductive justice organizations. You can donate, whether it's engaging in phone banks or knocking on doors or signing petitions. We need all hands on deck. You can also use social media. Use hashtags like bans off our bodies, trust Black women, and make sure our abortion stories are trending. And finally, if some of those steps feel a bit daunting, you can have conversations. Make sure you're talking to your friends, your family. Make sure you're talking to your community. And we are actively engaging people who may not necessarily agree with us, but we want to move that needle one conversation at a time. If you're interested in learning, thank you. If you're interested in learning more about Black Women for Wellness, please visit our website, bwwla.org, and our social media hashtags are BW4WLA. Thank you so much.
Ahora yo picheo, antes tú no querías, ahora yo no quiero, antes tú me pichabas, ahora yo picheo, antes tú no querías, ahora yo no quiero, no, tranqui, yo perreo sola, yo perreo sola.
What's up, Los Angeles?
Yo perreo sola.
Buenas tardes, Los Ángeles.
Yo perreo sola.
Okay, ay, que ningún baboso se le pegue. La disco se
I'm here to introduce two fierce champions for reproductive justice and abortion rights. They are doing the work every single day in our state legislature and our state capitol to make sure that we will not be defeated. We will be working, fighting forever, para siempre, for our rights. Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo and State Commissioner Ricardo Lara.
All right. Is Los Angeles in the house? This is what we do. This is how we show up. My name is Wendy Carrillo. I'm an assemblywoman. I represent the city of Los Angeles, and I am so honored and inspired to be here with you. But what the fuck are we doing protesting this shit yet again? Yet again. We know that the rights of women throughout history, there has been relentless attacks on women's comprehensive reproductive health care, our reproductive freedom, and our right to an abortion with dignity. That stops. No more. From state-sponsored sterilization to efforts across the country to ban the right to a legal abortion, that's happening right now, and that's why your state representatives matter. But we know that it will be women of color, Latinas, African-American women that are impacted the most. But I am inspired to be with you here today to know that it is women of California, the people of California, the men that support the women of California that will ensure that California is a state that not only will continue to provide reproductive freedom and the right to an abortion to all pregnant people, but if you are in another state and you want to seek health care, you can have that here in the state of California. Are protected in the right to have an abortion. Unas pocas palabras en español. Yo soy la asamblista Wendy Carrillo, orgullosamente representando la ciudad de Los Ángeles en el estado de California. Salvadoreña. Y sabemos que a lo largo de la historia de este país y a través del mundo han habido ataques contra los derechos reproductivos y de la libertad de las mujeres, especialmente mujeres latinas, minorías afroamericanas, y estamos aquí para decir que el estado de California continuará con la necesidad reproductiva y la oportunidad de tener un aborto con dignidad en este estado. Y si hay mujeres en otros estados que necesitan ayuda, bienvenidos a California, porque aquí vamos a seguir la lucha para los derechos reproductivos de personas y de mujeres a través del país, y sabemos que en la comunidad latina el aborto es algo que la verdad nadie se habla de eso, ¿verdad? Pero
pero sí se apoya, correcto, sí se apoya, y mujeres latinas a través del país y a través del Estado necesitan esa ayuda. Y no vamos a dejar que la lucha de las mujeres que vinieron antes que nosotros en la historia de esta lucha sea olvidada. We will not forget the fight of women that came before us and continue to protect the right for Roe v. Wade. And we will fight. Now, I have the great pleasure of working with a great ally, our insurance commissioner, Ricardo Lara.
Mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? Are we ready to fight? You know, today I just want to honor the million of women who have come before us and said enough is enough. We honor you, we respect you, and we're out here in this damn heat because of you. And we will be here time and time again. As your California Insurance Commissioner, let me tell you something. I'm going to make sure that abortion is covered in California, and any woman who wants to come to California, the doors of this beautiful state are open to all of you. Come one, come all, because abortion is health care. Abortion is about women's rights. And so we are here fighting for you, and we're not going to go anywhere. Aquí estamos y aquí nos quedamos. Remember that? Para mi gente latina, aquí estamos apoyándolo también a nuestras mujeres latinas que van a sufrir si no tienen acceso a un aborto o un acceso a un cuidado médico. Estamos aquí como la asambleísta Wendy Carrillo, como su comisionado de seguros. Estamos aquí luchando para asegurar que nuestra comunidad también tenga el acceso a un aborto, que tenga el acceso al cuidado médico que se merecen todas las mujeres. So let's do this, Wendy. You know, you can't be in LA and not know a little Spanglish, right? I mean, come on. So we're going to do, what are we doing, Wendy?
And we're both from East LA, too. I know East LA is in the house, so we're going to say this in a little Spanglish.
What do we want? Justice.
¿Qué queremos?
Justicia.
What do we want? Justice. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. What do we want? Justice. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. What do we want? Justice. Gracias.
Hello, Los Angeles. My name is Allison Regan. I'm the president of the board of Trust Women. We run clinics that provide abortion care in Kansas and Oklahoma. Our doors are still open, and they are going to stay open. At Trust Women, we are committed to making the right to an abortion a reality so that all women and pregnant